The Real Ghostbusters cartoon gave a chance to market the hell out of the Ghostbusters franchise, which they hadn't gotten to do quite as much with the first movie because they didn't expect it to be such a big hit. And I want to talk about one of the more obscure things released under the Real Ghostbusters name, the mini arcade game. Alright, so this is the Real Ghostbusters electronic arcade game by Remco. In addition to this mini arcade, Remco made a couple other electronic Real Ghostbusters games, including an electronic pinball game and a handheld one more in the style of the Tiger Electronics games. Oh, and Remco also put out a pretty sweet looking Real Ghostbusters real telephone. And despite all the English on the package, the only area I've seen this come out of so far has been Italy. Which means I get to have fun with my Italian instructions. With joystick control! Apparently, that's a really big selling point. Apparently, that's even slightly more important than real arcade sound. Alright, so this came out in '89, so it needs to sound at least as good as the Ninja Turtles arcade game. I'm sure that'll hold up. I love the other point about the sound here being loud, realistic sound effects can be switched off. First, realistic compared to what? Handheld game? Alright. But I love that the point about the loud sound effects to appeal to the kids, I'm sure, is immediately downplayed with can be switched off so the parents will actually buy them. I love that a couple of these points are also just different ways to say the same thing, like four-way joystick, and then multi-directional figure movement, and automatic scoring system, bonus scoring. So just like it threatened, here's the instructions in Italian, but I think I'll manage to figure out the batteries anyway. So I'll get to play my sweet, ninja basketball game? With missiles? What the hell kind of ninja basketball are they playing? And none of that, I believe, has much to do with the Real Ghostbusters. Because we all know the Real Ghostbusters focused way more on being about a jet. Yeah, apparently they took the picture for the box before they actually finished the game and just had a placeholder inside of it. Because, yeah, the actual game does not feature a jet. The cabinet's side art features a really early promo picture from the Real Ghostbusters. Because, as you can see, they're all still in the movie-style jumpsuits, which was used on a few Real Ghostbusters products. Unfortunately, this one cuts it off so you can't see that they're blasting Slimer. But at least here, the text doesn't block off poor Stay Puft's face. Alright, now let's pop in our quarter, aka 4 AA batteries, damn it. In the actual game, you control Peter Venkman, and he's got fairly decent sprites, or whatever you want to call them for an LCD game. And like most of these types of games, the gameplay is fairly simple. You just move Peter around trying to bust the ghosts? Or, ghouls, I suppose. I actually don't know what the point of having two action buttons here is, as they appear to do the exact same thing, and it doesn't change the direction of Peter's attack. While in the middle, Peter will either drop traps or rocks. I'm really not sure what those are, but this will get the ghost ghouls at the bottom. When you move over from side to side, Peter is apparently done with bothering to fire his proton stream and just jabs the Neutrona wand right in the ghost ghoul's stomach. Also, if a ghost thing is crawling up the side of the mausoleum that Peter is standing on top of, he'll kick at them instead of sticking out the wand. Pressing up makes Peter leap into the air, but he can't attack, so it's just for trying to avoid the ghosts below. One of the more interesting mechanics of the simple LED game, though, is pressing down actually lets you hide inside the mausoleum where you can't be harmed. However, a meter starts filling up while you're in there, which seems to be your air, and if it fills up, Peter dies of suffocation. And he lands nicely in the perfectly placed coffin below. Which is pretty awesome that this game actually has, and that means this LED game is more extreme than a lot of the ABC interference episodes. And speaking of that, I do like imagining that this is the stupid Coulier Bankman sometimes and just jamming him inside the mausoleum to suffocate.
Oh, did somebody sneeze?
The air really does run out rather quick when you go in here, so it's only for a short evade, or else you'll die. Actually, you're going to be ending up in that coffin quite a bit because I find it hard to even tell how you're getting hit a lot of the time in this game. The sound effects are beeps. They're nothing special, despite what the box says. I'm a little disappointed though that there wasn't a little beepy version of the start of the Ghostbusters theme or anything. Also, I couldn't find a way to actually shut the sound off like the box says, but I did discover that holding both the action buttons down for a while will reset the game, and holding the joystick over in any direction for a while does this. It's decent for an LED game, though I do wish it was a little more involved and a little easier to tell where you're getting attacked from sometimes. The graphics are actually pretty nice for one of these things though, since you can clearly tell what things are and which Ghostbuster you are. And that's something I can't even give the actual arcade game's graphics. There you can only tell by the colors, sort of. It's also nice they've got the blinking lights at the top to add a little more to the arcade flair, even if they don't mean much. And I like all the cabinets' decals, even though it does use that commonly used early promo art. But that does look pretty cool on there and actually fills out the entire side, unlike the actual arcade cabinet. It's also kinda neat that it's got a sticker stating the exact production month, so mine was apparently made in July of 1990. And it's got the classic gold Made in China sticker, or maybe it was Kina or Cina according to the Italian on the bottom, 7. It would have been kinda nice if there was some kind of second gameplay mode to this game, like some of those LED games have. Something like trying to pull a ghost down into your trap with your proton stream. But overall, it's pretty par for a lot of these type of games. The cover system is probably the neatest part of the gameplay. 6. The main point of odd with this mini arcade is that it was made by Remco, which is based out of the US, and it doesn't seem like it was ever actually released there, at least not very widely if it ever was. 1. The box is interesting mostly because of the unfinished prototype displayed on it, which doesn't even contain the right game. And the prototype has a black joystick instead of the actual Minicade's red one. Overall, the box is alright, but all the bullet points are kinda silly. Instead of giant points about basic things, it might have been nicer to have some real Ghostbusters artwork on there. 4. And the MMZ overall is 7! This thing is neat to me just because of how obscure it seems to be, and I'm glad I found another game based on the real Ghostbusters because there really wasn't enough of those. And a lot of what we did get wasn't that great. It may be just an LED game, but it's dressed up pretty nicely.
Don't say it, Egon. Let me.
Do it and die all over again.
We're in trouble.
I feel like a Smurf.